not very uncommon to have mobile games being ported onto major consoles and platforms. When a mobile game gets popular, most publishers get a big head. They think, oh, my game did well for free on a platform basically everyone has. Everyone will love it when I port Doodle Jump to the 3DS and sell it for $16. They, however, forget to take into account the fact that the people who play Angry Birds for free on their phones on the bus to work aren't the same market willing to cough up $40 for a port of Angry Birds Star Wars on the Wii using a far worse and less intuitive control scheme. During the 7th generation of video games, console ports of mobile games to consoles felt like an inevitability, and it has been continuing since then. I cannot count how many terrible mobile games were slapped onto the Nintendo Switch eShop, and would you believe it, most of them are trash. However, there is one mobile game to console that I actually particularly enjoy. Have you ever heard of Badland? You know, the game that was pre-installed on basically every iPad display in every store that never worked? Badlands is basically if Flappy Bird had a child with Ori and the Blind Forest. A mobile game for free that I paid $2 for on Steam. Technically, the Steam Game of the Year version has a plethora of new levels, plus it just looks too pretty not to play on a computer. So you play as this bird-looking thing, called a clone, and you're tasked with flying and surviving through levels. Developed as a mobile game, you only have one button to press, which causes you to fly up, and letting go lets you drop. However, instead of making another Flappy Bird, this game actually has depth. You know, as much depth as a mobile game can have, but depth. Obstacles make you think on how to approach it, with that push of the game being an automatic side-scroller to actually make it a decent challenge. Different types of obstacles change up how you'd approach them. Most just kill you instantly if you touch them, like the saws and the spike balls. However, power-ups exist and change special attributes of your clone to change it up and flip the game on its side. For example, you can speed up, slow down, change into a continuous rolling motion whenever you touch the floor, turn spiky and sticky, turn bouncy, and each of these affects how obstacles can be approached. Alternatively, the sticky ability may make you more viable to threats since you can get stuck on the floor if you touch it. However, saws don't do damage, and instead you stick to them and they can carry you across the level. You can even pick up a power-up that slows down or speeds up time, making pinpoint situations both manageable at times, but also help heighten the challenge and tension to complete it. Some power-ups multiply your clone, making you try as hard as you can to get as many of your clones to the end of the level, making regions more chaotic and micromanageable, trying to get every single one to the end. I hate seeing one being left behind, and getting a massive clump of them to the end is stupidly satisfying. It's surreal. There's a surprising amount of depth for a mobile game, and I respect the efforts to make an innovative video game for a market that is now populated with horrendous one-off jokes of games filled to the brim with ads solely for the publisher to profit off of it, all the while suffocating the ecosystem with oversaturation, not allowing actual passion projects with genuine love and effort put into them to never reach the limelight they deserve. I'm looking at you, Voodoo. Cut it out. There's even a multiplayer mode where up to 4 players can play either together in a race or survive for a competition. With all these game modes, for $2 on sale, if you enjoy this game style, it's a pretty good bang for your buck. My only criticism of the gameplay is that it can get really boring. There's only so much Flappy Bird you can take until you put your phone away, and the same goes here. The levels do feel repetitive with the simple design, but I'd give it leeway considering it was designed with the idea of you playing it for a few minutes on the train and putting it away, rather than awfully long play sessions. Unless you're one of those kinds of people. Oh my lord, this game is actually beautiful. The backgrounds are so detailed, the environment is fully imagined, with deep forests filled with odd creatures, and the stylistic choice of making everything in the forefront almost shadowed completes such an amazing contrast. This game just oozes an Ori and the Blind Forest style of art, with all these details in the background. It just seems so organic, so natural, and the shadow effect creates a contrast that avoids the environment from being distracting. The world behind you is incredibly detailed. Themes change between the worlds, changing time or changing areas, and this is all aided by this amazing ambient soundtrack that helps create such a soothing experience. And then the clones start getting shredded apart, one motherfucker gets crushed, and another 2 get pinned under a rock and eventually die of deprivation.